Does art style justify only drawing the most attractive people? Will I be burned at the stake for using a base? How many views will this art trend short get me? I wonder if I charge 50 cents for a sketch, if I'll be able to pay for groceries this week. Maybe I'm actually a huge fan and everyone is going to find out that I've tricked them into thinking I'm a good artist. Hi, howdy. I'm Grim Vestige and I'm a freelance artist who's been drawing my entire life and, unfortunately, regularly online for almost 15 years, which means I have hot takes about the stuff I care about. Who'da thunk? Now, we all have hot takes, let's be honest. Things that drive you up a wall. Things that are sins against God and nature, such as olives and mushrooms. Things that are a divine gift from God, such as pineapple on pizza, obviously. To be clear, I think it's good to have passionate opinions about things, to have a genuine conversation with others. It's how things get done in real life, and if people do it responsibly on the internet, it's how things change in real life too. Surely here on YouTube.com is a great place to do just that. Okay, look, I've seen comment sections be really nice on YouTube, so I'm going to trust you all to do that. If you get mean, I will take the comments away like you would take a knife away from a child at a pool party.
And let me see what you have!
No! From least spicy to burning hot as the sun, as ranked by my patrons, let's get into my artist hot takes. Okay, obviously we have to have the huge disclaimer. This is a hot takes video. There may be content that you dislike in here. Do not get mad at me that I told you the stove was hot if you decide to touch it. By watching this video, obviously. I am sharing these hot takes as a means to initiate critical thought and discussion. If you do not want to have that, please move on. I have a huge library of other videos you can check out that are far less spicy, quite frankly. And if you feel called out by some of these, well, good! So do I! Actually though, be kind to yourself if you think any of these takes apply to you. Question why you think they do, and remember that I personally do not know you and I am a stranger on the internet, but there is still a real human being behind this model. We cannot intimately know each other's situations and realities without a whole lot of talking, so just be considerate to everyone involved, including yourself. That disclaimer aside, on to the hot takes. Do you ever run into people who say, "Oh, I don't draw a type of person because it's not part of my art style"? And they do commissions and gift art and art trades, draw this in your style challenges. Yeah, I've seen this. And it drives me up a wall to see people use their art style as an excuse to not draw certain kinds of people. Because more often than not, it's artists who draw people that very much fit or exceed current beauty standards that use this as a reasoning not to draw someone. Like, if you are only drawing for yourself or telling a story that requires everyone to be hyper attractive and idealized, fine, I don't care. I don't know, maybe I'm insane for this, but I'd rather people who aren't confident in drawing non-hyper sexy people do the research and put in the earnest effort to learn to draw different kinds of people. A lot of the time, quote unquote, not drawing certain kinds of people is an excuse not to draw POC characters or fat or disabled people. Let's be super frank about it. By the way, if you yell at me for bringing politics into this, remember that all art is political and get off my channel. That's as mean as I'm gonna get outside hot takes, alright? I'm not tolerating intolerance around here. Anyway, back to the actual hot take. It matters for people to not be afraid to try drawing new things. It matters for people who do not meet whatever the current day's beauty standard is to be able to see themselves in art and stories, to be acknowledged as part of our collective history and culture. It matters to be able to find beauty and joy in what normal human beings look like and the infinite variety of ways that can manifest. To me, it is a miserable way to live to only be able to find joy and beauty in what others have pre-approved for you. That is why I get cranky about people only being able to draw skinny white twinks when they clearly have studied their basics. I'm not saying you can't focus on what is most fun for you to draw, because everybody has certain kinds of subject matter they love. But if you're drawing for other people, commercially especially, maybe demonstrate that you can draw everyday people, please. And now, for take number 2. When you go to commission an icon of your favorite character, how much do you expect it to be? $10? $25? $50? How about $100? $1,000? What makes it worth that price? Because if you said anything besides "that's what the going rate for a luxury good in expensive parts of the world is," I am playing an extremely loud incorrect buzzer at a respectable volume within your vicinity. Look, I get that skill level exists. I get that some people are just doing it on the side for fun. But some people are doing art for a living and to make ends meet. Every time an artist undercharges and someone purchases their work for that undercharged rate, they are lowering the value of art for everyone and training buyers to expect low prices. I do not care if you think that artists charging what they are actually worth prices some people out of being able to buy art. Art is a luxury good, and that means not everyone can afford it. That is what a luxury good is by definition. More often than not, the clients who want to buy cheap art are not kind clients either. By the way, if you are a commissioner and you think your artist is undercharging, tell them. If you can, find out how to tip them to pay what you think they're worth if you can, even if you're friends with the artist. I do that to my friends who try to cut me the friend price, honestly. I promise that we, the artists, appreciate knowing that you think our work is worth more. And being able to get nice food at the grocery store is an added perk. Plus, if you actually think every human being deserves to live in dignity and comfort, then you should be in favor of raising the standard across the board for all labor, regardless of how essential or skilled it is. Because a rising tide lifts all boats. No one should undercharge ever for their art for any reason. Yes, I do want the post-scarcity Star Trek future, but we aren't there yet. In the meantime, it is our due diligence to make sure as many people as possible get there with us, which means we have to stop letting people devalue their work. All right, next take. Here we go. If you are always looking at your own art and putting it down, skipping out on practicing the basics, never experimenting and pushing yourself, you're not gonna improve. No amount of buying lessons, quality art supplies or software, or bullying yourself will ever be a better substitute for just sitting down and making art or confronting why you're being mean to yourself. In my opinion, art is mostly cerebral. Improving requires training your eyes to see shapes and color and light exactly as it is. It requires training your hands to do what you ask of them, which only happens when you pay attention to the way they move. Art requires taking time to learn your chosen software and medium, learning the history and theory that came before you so you can build on it. Improving requires looking at your schedule and life and figuring out where you can slot in some time for your creativity between everything else. Or sometimes it's just getting the damn therapy appointment because your mental health is preventing you from pursuing your hobby. Let's be real. Obviously, you can't think your way out of every problem as an artist, but at the same time, that only solidifies my point that drawing is very cerebral. You have to know when to stop thinking about your stuff and arrive at a mindset that works for you and then just go. Too much of anything, whether it's being cruel to yourself or your work, not prioritizing it, or always doing the same thing, means you will not improve. If you're not out there trying to improve, then fine, whatever, this doesn't apply to you. But to me, a balanced approach to your artistic improvement starts in your own head. Okay, let's talk about bases. So, a base is exactly what it sounds like. A drawing made for someone else to draw on top of, to fill in the details. I personally think that they are fine. For whatever reason, people get really cranky about others using bases, even though they were literally made to work on top of. This is like getting mad at someone for buying brownie mix. Yeah, most of the work is done, and you just have to add the egg and the oil and the water and then stir it and chuck it in the oven. But sometimes the point of something is the end product, which in this case would be the delicious effing brownies. Or, in the case of a base, the cute finished art of someone's original characters. Obviously, learning is great. I just talked about how important it is. Studying is very fun if that's what you're into for art. But the people who are using bases and disclosing that they're using a base aren't trying to learn the thing that the base is already drawn for them. You know? People who get mad about others using bases are complaining at someone for not cleaning the living room when they're in the middle of cooking dinner. And it just doesn't make sense to me. And anybody who isn't disclosing they're using a base and crediting the person who made it just wants to lie to you and morally lecturing them about how they're hampering their ability to improve and study their art is not going to help them. Lying about using a base is a separate problem from the base itself. Speaking of learning, bases are a great way to learn. Using one gets you familiar with how other artists approach things and make it possible to do things you normally couldn't on your own. So, if you think someone is using a base and you're one of the people upset about it, ask yourself why you're upset. Because if it's that someone wanted to have delicious brownies without needing to buy double the amount of ingredients and invest triple the amount of time, you might just be being fun police. And we all know how trustworthy cops of any kind are. Alright, last take. Art talk kinda sucks. Understand that this is coming from someone who does not use TikTok. I don't have it installed on my phone. I only look at the TikToks that are good enough to make it off of the platform and onto Tumblr. But from what I have heard, some of the most insane takes and drama come from art TikTok. And people get crazy self-conscious about their work because it's so easy to compare and equate views with the worth of your art. How do I know? Instagram was the exact same way for artists. Now, look, I might be being a crotchety 26, 27 in a few months year old artist, which I know isn't old, I'm just being silly. But being in such a drama-rife section of the art community is not a healthy way to engage with other artists or the industry. Go to your local art supplies open drawing nights or start/attend the art club at your library instead. Please, for the love of God. Or join an online community that is largely outside that drama circle. Hi, hello, would you like to join my Discord server? Everyone is really level-headed and nice. Also, we're all dorks with original characters and love tabletop RPGs, outside of the fact that it's an art server primarily, so everyone is passionate and we've got lots of different mediums. Okay, plug over. I think social media can be great for artists in curated doses. But inhaling the entire thing straight into your brain is not good for you or your art. It's a recipe to create insecurity in your work, yourself, and force yourself into boxes you shouldn't have had to conform to in the first place. And there are my art hot takes. Thanks for coming. I know in some circles these are all fridge temperature, which is to say most of the people I hang out with, but this video was a good reality check for me to go, hey, wait, what do people freak out about again? I hope I'm not getting absolutely destroyed in the comments section. Anyway, if you had a good time, and you want more reasonably level-headed stuff about being an artist in this current hellscape, you should subscribe. If you liked how my patrons got to rank my hot takes to determine the order they were presented in for this video, you should go check out my Patreon and pledge. I'm trying my best to make this a sustainable career for myself because normal jobs make me want to redacted for violating community guidelines.